Alright, cool. Let's do this. Trying to open this big Zelda file now. The file is almost 600 megabytes. It's too big. It's too big now. Jokes aside, let's make a little progress. I don't think it'll be too hard to, despite it being a Saturday morning, day off for many, I would like to try and get this done. All right. Let's put it on the big one. There we go. Such a big image. Well, it's the same size as the other images, but there's so much going on. Let's get acquainted. My layer naming conventions, especially on these complicated scenes. And it's like, I keep watching videos of people who are like, yeah, I only use like 2 or 3 layers. And I'm like, because you have like one thing in your composition with a foreground and a background. And that's it. It's like if you try to do something a little more complex, you kind of need to have those design elements a little bit segregated. Discreet. Clean. All right, here we go. One thing I was thinking about is if I might be going too dark with some of my occlusion stuff. I don't know. So this isn't 100% at black. I don't know if it'll make any difference. Really, but boy, the design of this bridge looks really cool. I mean, I know I did it kind of really randomly. But now if I'm thinking about all the ways the shadows are being formed with all these little strands sticking together, this might actually be a little bit long to put together. And probably without much payoff, but oh well. It's good practice. Good practice for this type of thing. I was remembering how when I did my comic book and I used my... Oh, hi, Rivy. You're new. You're new and you have the floor. What's on your mind? Are you a Zelda fan? I like your compliment. Thank you. When I was coloring on my comic book, I was thinking yesterday that I'm going to ramble for a bit. I was thinking about why it was so difficult for me to do that coloring stuff a couple days ago, where I was trying to like really apply like, what is the lighting? What color is the light? And I was trying to get back into it and realizing I hadn't done it in like 5 years. Not gonna lie, you're in my follow list and I wanted to drop in show support. Don't know much Zelda. Oh, it's all good. Don't worry about that. I appreciate your quick show of support. This is a ongoing long-term project. Bit of Zelda fan art, if you're familiar with this series. And they have a movie they've announced, and I do storyboards in Los Angeles. You might have heard my spiel before, so if you've been lurking and you've heard it, you can stop me at any time. But I do storyboards in LA for video game trailers and entertainment, short form entertainment, advertising. So basically commercials and video game commercials. And Zelda's a video game, and I do cinematic trailers for video games, and it's like, hey, what if there's like a Zelda project on my horizon? I should have something. You know, if they need a Zelda sample ready to go, what if I had something ready to go? Wouldn't that be smart? Have you seen the other pieces I'm working on? It's all good. We can just back out a little bit. These are in the process of shading. They kind of look gross right now. They look like they've been overshaded, or like they're like burnt toast a little bit, because it's just black shading on color, the way they're presented. And it's not really the way to color, but it just marks a step in the process for me. I was lamenting the other day about how I had let my coloring skills fade because they just hadn't been used. No one was hiring me for color. I do black and white storyboards every day. But people don't hire me for color because they don't know I can do it. But then on the other hand, I can't do it right now the way I used to because I wasn't practicing it. I was trying to remember, well, how did I get good at color? Because I used to just breeze through this stuff. And I was working on my comic, and that was in color, and I would color it, and I knew what I was doing, and I had a lot of confidence, comparatively at least. And then I was remembering it was because I was iterating all the time. My early color stuff on my comic book wasn't good, but over time, kept at it, learned new things, developed confidence in my process. And then every time I came back to it, it was easier and easier until it was no effort at all. Just like the drawing is for me now. And so it really just has to be, I just have to get in there and iterate. Just get in there and fail. There's another new person. Acqui. I can't pronounce that. Acqui? I don't know. Hi there. Everybody's welcome here unless you're a bot. And you can switch off, but you can come hang out. We're just listening to Zelda music and drawing Zelda drawings. Beep boop. Acqui. Okay, Acqui. Beep boop, not a bot. I have to get up early. Today, it's I let myself sleep in a little bit. Normally I get up at 4 or sometimes even 3:30 a.m. to squeeze in some Zelda streaming so that I can get something done on this before my wife and kids wake up and start distracting me. Beep boop. Hippity hoppity, your money is now my property. Yeah. Bippity. Oh, there is a fun, I heard a fun thing someone said like that. Bippity boppity. Something something. Too early. More coffee. Are either of you artists? You don't know each other, do you? Well, now you do. Akwi, this is Rivi. Rivi, you must be a creator of some form. Never draw, but I have a gift in drawing. Oh, that's interesting. That was like my grandpa. He was an amazing... He could draw anything, but his passion was military intelligence. So he went into the armed forces, essentially, and he had a mind where essentially a lot of the work he did was secret, but we think he would basically operate like a human computer for the naval intelligence, because he could memorize and draw maps really well. That's what my mom said. And my mom is an artist and inherited a bit of artistic talent from him. And we're all left-handed. That's why I feel like it's genetic, at least in some part. Rivi does traditional art, and you do... Your passion is languages. Okay, so we're all very smart. A lot of what I'm doing right now is a little bit of... It's kind of like... I don't know if it's that interesting for a viewer, but it's... A big part of my process is identifying areas in which the light is occluded. And that just means, where is light blocked? Are there any places where we know that light just isn't going to get into? And light is going to kind of be blocked where sticks are meeting, and definitely where they're touching each other and overlapping and creating shadows where no matter what kind of light it is, it's going to be difficult for light to get in there. So I'm just trying to think of, okay, there's going to be light here where these bits of cord are tying and overlapping these twigs and whatnot. Depends. Oh, chess is cool, yeah. Depends where the light source is. Yeah, it certainly does. I think in terms of generalities, it depends on the light source and the material of the thing, because if the camera angle shifts and it's a shiny object, you can catch a glint of light bouncing off of something that was previously unseen. But it's a true statement that there can be a lot of surprises, and in a non-ironic fashion, I'm well aware that actually a lot of the shadows that I put in at this stage are actually false, and they will be overwritten at later stages as I find light that will either compositionally need to be there or turn out to be more lit than I would have previously guessed. But I think, I'm not a super genius, but I'm pretty sure that if there are no sources of light that are touching an object so that it can reflect that light, then that object is black. And we can't see anything. So, where are you from? Where I'm from is where I am at, and I am from Los Angeles. So this is, I'm in Studio City specifically. Studio City is not exactly, but it is near Casino Land. Studio City is a casino in Asia. I know that from Googling Studio City at one point. Is it true that Las Vegas is just a big casino? Not really. There are parts of it that are casinos that are stripped together, but I'm in Los Angeles. I don't know if you quite heard that. Los Angeles is very distinct and separate from Las Vegas. Yeah, you can be tired. That's okay. But I'm not in Las Vegas. I'm in Hollywood, basically. Down the street from me is literally the Universal Studios theme park in Los Angeles. Down here where the struts or whatever supports of this bridge are getting closer to all this material, light is getting blocked. Underneath the bridge, light is getting blocked. Some general assumptions there, because not all the light is getting blocked, but some of it is getting blocked. What time is it where you are, Akwi? Want to visit America? You're half American. Huh. I'm curious what time it is. You don't have to tell me your location unless you want to, but I'm curious what time it is where you are. And yeah, you should visit America. 2:50 p.m. Okay, interesting. You are in a different time zone from me. For you, is it Asia? Are you in Asia? PM. No, you might be in Europe. Yeah, you're in Europe. Yes, no? Or you could be in Africa, or, In any case, the, Europe. I've enjoyed streaming at these early hours because many of the people who pop in to visit are European. And I like that. I like to think that I have an international reach with my stream. Okay, so this bridge is kind of shaded to my satisfaction, so. Okay, what's next? Okay, all these little bad guys are on separate layers. I have to shade them all. So this guy that I'm turning on and off, I'm going to shade him. know more American geography than my own country. That's cool. You must have a complicated and nuanced country of origin. You're half American, so let's see here. Do you have like an American passport? Is it as simple as hopping on a plane? Have you never been to the United States? You know, America is a continent that is comprised of many countries. It's not just the United States. Never been to America. Oh, you're in Portugal. Very good. The Canadians are Americans. People in South America are Americans too. We're all Americans. I'm Portuguese, but now I'm in Switzerland. That's very cool. I love how international Europe is. I've been, unlike most Americans, I've actually been to Europe several times. But I am one of those. We're in Europe. Let's see. I've definitely, if I did it in chronological order, and this isn't scientific, my recollection here, but I've visited England and Scotland and Ireland. I've been to Iceland twice. I've been to England twice. I have been to France. I've been to just a little bit in Spain. I don't think I've been to Portugal. I've been to Germany. I've been to Belgium. Right? Where's Brussels? I think it's Belgium. I've been to Italy probably 4 times, maybe 5 times. I've been to Greece. Probably been to Greece twice. Been to Croatia a little bit. That was on a cruise. I don't think that counts, you know. And I've been to Switzerland. No, I haven't been to Switzerland. I went to Austria. There's a difference. I don't speak Spanish. Yeah, despite living in Los Angeles, I don't speak any Spanish. I'm a real American, where I just don't speak any other languages. But I really do appreciate the passion for languages that other people have, and the it's quite generous that Europeans have decided to concede that American and English languages are probably worth knowing at least a little bit about. Side effects of being an American. Only speaks American. What the fuck is a kilometer? Oh, broke a bone. Give me $50,000. I've done my my ranting about the American medical system more than twice on this Twitch channel. I don't really want to get into it again, but you're telling me. Yes, I definitely agree with you on that stuff. All those points. You have to couple again with the fact that in Los Angeles, we don't even think about anything that happens anywhere in the world. And I know that's not a good thing, but it's just sort of very, I don't know, it's like a conceited tendency of Americans that's even worse in the area that I live, so, but for what it's worth, I really think of America as the world's country. You know, It's hard to say who belongs here. I think the whole world has a part to play. And then I think of California as the world's state. And then I think of Los Angeles as the world's city. There's just room for all the influence here. My dad was born and raised in America, and he agrees that America is cooked. Definitely got issues. I think that might, I mean, where was your dad from in America? Portugal's also cooked, yeah. Too much shading right there. You only need a little bit. Let's see here. So hard to get a house in Portugal. Yeah. It's hard in America too. I'm kind of adding shading where I shouldn't. Not according to my own little rules here, but sometimes I can't help it. I get a little bit on autopilot. Okay, so I'm learning 3 languages right now, thinking about replacing Russian with Icelandic. That's cool. Iceland is an interesting place. Have you ever been there? I've been twice, but only in the wintertime. You should definitely visit it. Sure gets cold in the winter, I'll tell you that, but I found it to be a compelling and inspirational land of extremes. You can go outside. It could be extremely, and again, my experience is in the wintertime, but Iceland was extremely cold. But then when you go inside, it's extremely warm. And so you sort of take off all your hats and scarves and drink a nice hot beverage. Then you bundle up, you go outside again. And you drive around in the snow. And you see horses just standing there in like a blizzard. That's kind of crazy. But they look fine. Everybody's fine. There's no forest. Like, you're driving around and it just looks like something out of Game of Thrones. It's like a barren wasteland. I don't know if they cut down all the trees or if they just never grew in the first place, but there's very few trees that I saw driving around in Iceland. They probably burned them all for firewood, even if they did have them. Or made ships out of them so they could sail away. Iceland land, yeah. Well, in the summertime, however, it's very green and nice. And actually, there were a lot of interesting... Iceland being so isolated and of low population. It had its issues, but after they more or less liberated themselves after World War II... Well, let's see here. What actually happened. Hey, Uchi. Let's see. Iceland, if I recall, was controlled by Norway up until the point that World War II broke out. Then Norway had its own problems to deal with the Nazis. So Norway basically forgot about Iceland, forgot that they owned Iceland, and were dealing with that. Iceland had been conquered by like England and Denmark, or all those. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but this is basically they got jerked around by every country under the sun until the Nazis came in and bullied everybody else. Then everybody else said, "Well, we'll deal with our own problems for now. Iceland, you're on your own." Iceland basically wrote a letter that said, "Hey, if no one's going to actually come visit us from Norway, we're just going to be our own country now. Thank you." And then, if I have this right, because I feel like it does, the American military-industrial complex understood Iceland's pivotal location in whatever, the North American missile grid or something like that. Whatever military importance the location of Iceland lent them was tapped into, and so there's a big American influence on Iceland as well. I actually have family members that were stationed there, at least in the past. What has happened is that, weirdly, Iceland has sort of this like antithetical but similar relationship to Hawaii, which is also a hub of the American military-industrial complex. But as a result, its like position in the world, like geographically, allows for not just military but also financial sort of leveraging and pivoting, despite them being like, you know, isolated islands and relatively, you know, the with relatively primitive geography. Like literally, Iceland and Hawaii are both volcanic structures that grow and change and have earthquakes and all sorts of crazy shit. They became like extremely modern and adaptable societies while retaining their natural culture as well, and identity. And you know, I find them to be fascinating places. So I've been to Hawaii many times and Iceland twice, and I always remark how similar their things are. Yeah. And so, what was I going to say? And so weirdly, I just pick up little bits of Icelandic trivia, despite speaking no Icelandic whatsoever. And Iceland has one of the most, it's either like the highest literacy rate or the earliest literacy rate, or everybody there knows how to read, and they, it's also like they have the highest amount of authors per capita, right? So like more Icelanders are authors, like they write books, than any other country in the world, something like that. You know, don't quote me. And maybe it was all bullshit to begin with, but I remember learning and reading little tidbits like that about Iceland, little things that make a country distinct. And I remember when I was visiting, I was like, well, the food is not going to be good, because how could it be? But I went there and it was great, because it just was. I don't know why. Turns out that, you know, they've got technological solutions to all their problems now. So they need energy. Well, then they just tap into the geothermal and you get free energy. And they need, you know, fresh fruits and vegetables. Well, there's these things called greenhouses, and they work great. And you can grow perfectly fresh tomatoes in the middle of winter in Iceland. It's not that big of a deal. A lot of stuff does have to get shipped in. It's very expensive. I remember alcohol being prohibitively expensive there. That's a problem, because I do enjoy drinking, but but overall we had a great time. So much so we went back. It was fun. Went back with friends. No matter what is the topic of conversation, I'm going to steer it back to me and my own experiences, and that's just going to be how my stream goes. Uchi, you been good? I wanted to stream the other day, and I was so exhausted I just had to sleep. So something that's interesting is when we get into the figures that are so small here in the background, it may not be easy for the Twitch viewers to see, but this is actually this image is not, it's a high resolution. I mean, it's a 2K image, so that's higher than technically than HD, but it's not really possible for me to do good shading on some of these figures that are small. I'll go a little bit further, but a lot of the shading, what you would call occlusion shading on figures that are this size, where the line relationship is this big, the line itself is the shading. And there's really, like, when it's done right, that's basically what that is supposed to be. Now there's exceptions, of course, like, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it on these super small characters to go in and get. I'll do this one last guy, this dude at the front of the bridge. But once we get into, and maybe I'll do a touch on. No, the rest of them. It's just like, it's too. I don't like getting like obsessed with like where the pixels, what the pixels are doing. That doesn't make sense. The scale of the thing is there's no benefit to chasing down those little bits of things. And that's my roundabout way of saying that I don't want to go through the effort, because it'll be super complex and it won't benefit me. One thing I can do is add a little shading, like to where the area on the bridge where these guys are standing, there's going to be some shadows there that are going to be worth putting in. And maybe a little bit of shading where the bridge is meeting up with the tree. Light is definitely going to be blocked there. But in all these other areas, they're kind of in the big wide open. And the lines themselves do the work of the shading. Especially on this guy, this big Moblin. I already kind of accidentally shaded him. What a doofus. Maybe a little bit on Link's shield. Okay, here's Link. Okay. Definitely where his hand is touching his shield. Light is blocked. A little bit where his ear touches his hat. A little bit where his chin touches his neck. A little bit the underside of his arm. A little bit in his armpits. A little bit where his stomach is touching his waist. Maybe not even that much. Good to be gentle with it. Let's see here. Definitely some light getting blocked. And this massive tree that isn't too far away from us. We don't have to be too lazy that we can't do that stuff. Definitely light is blocked where these guys are standing on the ground. It's definitely blocked. It's definitely blocked on the underside where the bridge is nailed into the big tree platform. And in some of these nooks and crannies, some light is definitely blocked. Just a little to help describe the shape. Kind of a gradient. Big soft one. But feels right. Probably too much, but what does that do? Definitely gonna have some shading. Some light is definitely gonna be blocked. these areas where people are standing, things are hung, attached to the tree. Blocking the light from getting past. Under an awning. Don't need to be extreme about it. Subtle is fine. Should be good enough for that. The tree would theoretically have shading at like the base of it, where it would meet with the ground. Pretty sure, but I've got this elemental fog, low-lying, essentially being mysterious and dangerous and spooky. So that's gonna diffuse any difference between the light and shadow down there. And so now what remains is this tree, and I can shade the areas that are underneath these awnings and where these guys are standing. I think that'll be important. And then that'll be it, I think. Everything else will be very diminishing returns. Underneath their feet, the light will be blocked. Huh. There's like a guy totally just falling down here. Whee. I'm not sure if I adjusted some of the scale on these guys, but there's some gaps here that I wonder if I should do something about. I make these shading effects very subtle. Even that feels like too much, but It won't be. It just feels that way right now. Okay, save my work. Okay, so what I'm going to do now... because I don't want to shade anything else. Nothing else needs it, especially at the scale that is that's presented here. This is too wide for there to be any appreciable benefit to shading every darn thing that is in the distance. What makes sense to do now is just get it in the same orientation with the layering as all these other burnt to a crisp. Basically where every layer is activated and doing a job. Getting rowdy. Being rowdy with each other. I have these interesting, probably ill-advised design shading layers that are extent from earlier versions that I find interesting if I put them on overlay mode and combine them with the multiply. Sometimes, depending if the color's right, it actually looks cool. As long as the colors aren't too bright, it actually does look good. But one thing we can see... Oh, hi Liam. Been a little while. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Don't read too much into this. This is not the cool part of the coloring process. Liam, you would have seen something the other day that I wouldn't have wanted. I tried to do a little shortcut sneak peek at the coloring process. Actually, I think I owe you this message. Is the coloring process is not that amazing until like the last 10% of the coloring process, and in fact, at the start of it, it actually doesn't look good at all. So it'll be interesting moving forward. What I've done today is I've finished up the shading process, which is, and all these look like way too overcooked. They look like burnt toast, really, but it's part of my thing. Anyway, thanks for joining the stream, but it'll be the road to good color will pass through this painful choke point of metamorphosis where we'll feel like we went the wrong way, and it'll feel like there's no way out, and that we've doomed ourselves, and that all of our hard work is for nothing. Thank you. But the your insincere flattery. No, I appreciate the kind words, but this will be a challenge for my ego, as and perhaps any audience viewers. We won't get really into the coloring stuff today. What I am gonna do is get all the layers activated on this so it looks like burnt toast like the rest of them, and then I think I'll take a little time to at least start divvying them all up into, you can see all these are on like one big file. This is all just one giant Photoshop file. And it's going on 600 megabytes for this one file. It's too big. It just is too big. It's like I might be able to start the coloring process in this way, but the lighting process in this way, but I'm not going to be able to finish it. And it's only going to get harder to split them up if I even go even further. So we've reached a crossroads where these images will diverge, but I'll just load them into Adobe Bridge, where we'll be able to sort of see them in succession anyway, and it'll have more or less the same effect. So just progressing, but I'm glad you were able to join. I think there might still be a couple other people in the chat. We were discussing Iceland as a topic, but everybody, Liam is an amazing artist. That's why I take their compliments with such relish. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but like I try to follow so many. Thank you. I try to like, I don't know. I try to follow people on Twitch, especially if they follow me. And as a result, like I get whatever, like 100 notifications a day. It's just like my phone is constantly buzzing with notifications on Twitch about such and such going live. But I never, or rarely ever, have the time to jump in and check out what they're doing, so that's a shame. So right now I'm just making sure all the layers that might be hidden or not doing their thing right now can be activated. So many layers. This is probably the most complex drawing I've ever done. Like this drawing. Really is kind of amazing. That looks like shit. That's funny. We'll fix that. Way too much of that influence. Just back that off. Let's see here. That's funny. Next to some of these shaded parts of the tree, Zelda and this bad guy, they look like they're glowing. Because they just haven't had the same treatment. Wonder, did I miss them? Did I skip them? I guess I never did any design shading on them. They probably just looked good at white, which is well, that's a good reason to turn those off. Maybe I'll do that then. Just make sure all that is off. Sometimes my design shading is useful, but it's not. It's pretty much responsible for why it like looks like it went too far with the contrast on some of these. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that doesn't not help the composition. So you can see there's some cool effects happening here. Or there will be. Essentially, there will be a sense of this immense, immersive, cavernous forest with filtered green light, greenish light. I don't know. Not being too influential. It's all going to be so filtered and foggy and whatever that but I do want a sense of like there being an immense sort of dangerous forest and area surrounding all this in that and yeah, but there's going to be a lot of funny changes. So this will be, well, we'll see. We'll see how much it changes. I've been toying around with the idea of like putting a fire, like a forest fire in the background, just to heighten the drama. And of course, that's something that's like a special effect kind of element. So that stuff comes later for me. Okay, so all of this is on. And we save. And I think that's it. I think we reached the end of our big shading push. The ambient occlusion shading arc is basically completed for this. I guess I have to do, let me try and do something for these guys. The green, like green mist. It won't be like a green mist. It'll be like a low-lying fog, but the green will be kind of like, here, let me see if I can do a quick. It's the color layer. version might be something like this. Not too different from this. I don't want it to be too bright, but something that just feels like there's green leaves that are the number in the trillions and are far in the distance. Nothing that we wouldn't make them out. Yeah, because it's like, and I haven't drawn it yet, but there'll be like more like painted indications of like in the distance we get a semblance of like other trees. And that feel like they can be coming close or far away. Not sure if you can detect much of that. I might just keep those strokes in. They look good. I mean, they're not perfect, but they sort of sell the aesthetic a bit. Now it's interesting. It's like this area is looking too dark, but from the most part, the contrast is going. It's leading the eye where I want it to, which is here. There are things like, especially once it's done. Once I'm done doing the things that are going to happen, like it's all just going to be focused right here at this point. With plenty of other fun things to distract the eye, and then you just go right back. Yeah. Dynamic and fun. That's what I'm trying to do, is come up with dynamic compositions. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to stop referring to AI as much because I keep talking about it and all that stuff. But compositions like this are beyond the capabilities, the current capabilities of AI, where this is like, it's not just a story here. You can see there's drama playing out here. There's drama playing out here. There's acting. There's all sorts of different poses being invented. You know, you can see the birds are escaping and all sorts of fun designs. It's like, this is the sort of stuff that I want to highlight, like what human artists can do versus what the AI might just come up with. You know, you could possibly depict this subject matter, but not at this angle. Like, it wouldn't go with that, you know, or this. It doesn't do Dutch angles very well, or crazy action sequences with dynamic camera angles and dynamic posing, you know. Anyway. I am going to shade little Princess Zelda just a little bit. Because she's jumping out at me as needing it. But I can hear my wife and kids are awake now, so I'll make it quick. And then we'll call it a stream, because my weekend is beginning. Doesn't need much. She still has to look pretty, even from a distance. Set that to multiply. There we go. It feels a little bit more like she's in the same space now as everybody else. not so much like she's glowing. I don't know how, but I want to try and get this guy to have an underlighting effect. And light can come from anywhere, but if I can, I don't want to overshade him is what I'm saying. But I want to do something that makes him feel a little bit more integrated into the space. Since I made his colors bright, my thinking being that, you know, as animals get older and or monsters, you know, their coloring gets less intense, right? I think last but not least, just really quick. I'm doing my occlusion shading on a separate layer from the color. I can always merge them later on if I want to, but having them separate right now just gives me a little bit more control if I change my mind about something later. I might introduce a new interesting light source, change my mind about anything. God, I can't even make these guys out. I should have drawn this at like 6K resolution if I was going to go through all the trouble of putting all these little guys in here. But it didn't start out that way. The original sketch looked like this. So it's fun. It's fun to see the evolution. The germ of the idea has stayed consistent, but yeah, big changes over time. Okay. Things feeling much more settled now. Except now Link needs a little... What can I do here? He just needs a little bit more brightness. I think. Maybe that's it. Zelda looking too bright now. That basically does it. That's kind of cool looking. All right, here. I need to start doing this thing where I like find like, because I'm too lazy to make good thumbnails, but I'm also too like, I need to do the no, not this one. Like, shouldn't I do like a thing where like I'm like gawking at my own like artwork, like do this, you know, for my YouTube thumbnails, huh? I'll figure out a process down the road. But the point is that I don't want to go through the cheesy like I'll handwrite a sign that said great artists make this, or follow me for tips, you know. What could I write? That'll be on a different stream, but oh, you know what the really pretentious thing is? I've seen this like, it's pretentious, but it's also effective, like a do we even have a pen? I don't have anything. I'm a real artist and I don't keep real artist materials around. But like I've seen guys like be like, they give a smarmy look and they're holding up like the note on a post-it note. They'll be like, they're like never give up, something like that, right? I try to do my eat the spinach of doing my research for these YouTube things, and some of them are a bit much, but we'll see. I'm doing better than nothing. I'm doing better than nothing. I'm trying to help my fellow artists up there come up with something cool. All right, cool. Well, that's gonna be it, and I'll give it the one last final save-a-roo, and that's it. Okay, anybody listening, please enjoy your weekend. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow in the morning. All right, later.